Can you cook?
No, I can't.
I had to ask. Do you, personally, as Senat, feel like sex work is real work?
Wow.
Like recently we saw pictures of you hanging out with Stana. There was quite a stare on social media, so I have to ask.
He's a good person. We get along. We're friends. I don't know why. Since I was like 10 years old or something like that, I have a very weird relationship with myself.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Unboxed and Unfiltered Podcast. You guys already know it is real conversations o'clock. This episode is a very special episode in the season of the podcast because in studio with me today, I have Her Royal Highness Princess Senate. We're about to break it down, guys. We're going to get to have a conversation with her that is real, authentic, and organic, and we're going to get to know what she is all about, her likes, her dislikes, what she stands for. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am. And thank you so much for the support. Thank you for liking, following, and subscribing as always. And remember that new episodes air on Sky Alpha HD every last Thursday of the month before we release them on YouTube. And you can get links for streaming our episodes on their website from our Facebook page. Also remember that Sky Alpha HD is an online radio, so you can listen from anywhere, I repeat, in the world. As always, I'm your host, Mahlodi Mageta, and let's get right into this conversation. Hi, Princess Senate. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, and yourself?
You're good? Basically, when people come, usually it's people in the entertainment industry, because you really have the stage names, where they come from. But I think those tidbits we essentially know about you. So how about you let us know who Senate is? What she likes, what she doesn't like. In a nutshell, as an individual.
I'm a very quiet person, as you can tell, very shy. Like I said, I like my own time.
Okay.
I'm an introvert, I like to say. So you'll find me indoors. I like to read, binge watch TV shows and Netflix and everything like that. But reading is one of my favorites. And when I'm comfortable, I can be a little bit crazy.
Okay.
I do have a little bit of a sense of humor, but it's when I'm comfortable, when I'm around my friends. But in general, I'd say I'm a relaxed person, quiet, fun when it's time to have fun,
okay.
when it's time to be fun. And
okay, you talked about liking to read, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us one of your favorite books? Like one that you always revert back to?
Oh my gosh, don't get me started. I'm a huge bookworm. One of my favorite books that I recently read was, I don't know if you know Bell Hooks. Yes.
Oh my God, no!
All About Love. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard it, but I haven't read it.
You should read it. I really recommend it. I really love Bell Hooks. All About Love is just talking about love in this generation. The way we define love, the way we approach love.
Okay.
And yeah, that was really touching for me. So I really enjoyed that book.
I think it's really interesting. You know Bell Hooks and you read her book.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
her favorite book of mine, The Will to Change, Men, Masculinity and Love. That's my favorite book. So, like, can you tell us about your academic career? We saw you recently graduated. Primary guy, went to high school and then in varsity. Which program did you do? And then why did you choose it?
Okay, so primary, prep, Maseru prep from grade reception to grade 4. Grade 4, I left to go to boarding school in KZN, Clifton. So from grade 4 to grade 12, I was in boarding school. So I went to Clifton in KZN, grade 4 to 7. Yabaga, St. Anne's, it's also in the same area for high school, grade 8 to 12, also a boarding school. And then I matriculated in 2019. Oh, wow. I matriculated in 2019. 2020, I started university. But then in a online school because of COVID and everything. So only in 2021, Canada for second year.
Okay.
And then I've just been in Canada since 2021. And now I'm finished. Yeah.
Okay. So what program did you do?
Oh, international development and globalization. It's a lot. I don't know. People always ask me what it is, but I never know. It's politics, economics, sociology, anthropology. It's just everything. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's just everything. Yeah, I wanted to do it because I like current affairs.
Okay.
And the path I want to take in life, it's geared towards that. So societies, politics is saying like the politique, like that. Not like that.
Would you be more on the diplomatic side?
It's like diplomacy, yeah. So it'd be politics of different things, especially when it comes to gender and women's studies. That's what I really enjoyed.
Okay.
So those kind of politics.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think one thing that we often wonder is, let's say, someone who's royalty or is from a well-off family, something of that sort. One would assume that financially you're set for life. And we only know going to varsity to work for money or to earn. So what is the value of education for someone like you?
I don't think, let's say, financially or my role or my status, it doesn't define who you are.
Okay.
I take it as, well, not anything can happen, but I want to have something to show for myself. HRH Princess Senate or whatever, but
this is what you've accomplished.
This is what I've accomplished. It's more than just the title.
Yeah.
I earned it.
Okay.
I worked hard.
Okay.
We cried, we studied, we did everything.
That's exactly why I want, because I'm like, I mean, if I was set for life, I wouldn't go through what I'm going through with varsity right now. Guys. But I definitely get it. I think definitely if I was in your position or a similar one, eventually I would want to have an accomplishment of my own.
I get it. And also just to be independent. And yeah, I don't have that mindset of, okay, just because I'm royalty doesn't mean I don't need all of these things.
Okay.
And education these days, it's a luxury. It's a human right, but unfortunately,
not everyone has access.
Not everyone has access.
Definitely.
So when you have the opportunity to learn, to educate yourself, go for it.
Definitely.
But yeah, we worked hard. I deserved it.
Definitely. Like, period. I know the struggle. Definitely deserved it. So again, what's some of my questions here so I can refer back to them. So we've talked about your schooling essentially, right? And why you chose the program you chose and essentially all that. So just reverting back to your childhood, you went to prep up until grade 4 and then you went to KZN. What is your favorite childhood memory?
There's a lot. I think it would be my cousins coming over. They used to visit us. Madziengbo, Bereng, Skotadi, Hopozo, Banaba, Mrena Masup. So they would come over and that would be fun. I remember I was like 7 or 8, like between those ages. I think they were teenagers at that time. And it was just fun. They would sleep over, come over for Christmas. I just remember that because they would always be forcing us to watch Trace, like Disney Channel or like Cartoon Network or something.
Well, they're teens.
They're teens and they were watching Trace and everything. That's just one of my fondest memories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what can you say is one of His Majesty, your father's best qualities? Like one of the things that make you look up to him or qualities that you like the most?
That is a very quiet, calm person. I think maybe that's where I get some of my personality from. He's very, very demure.
Very cute.
Very cutesy. No, but he's just patient, he's understanding. And I think that's what you need to like, you need those qualities for the kind of job that you have. I want to say job, but it's just that patience, that kindness, that understanding that makes me look up to him. Because not everyone has those kind of qualities.
Yeah, especially the patience.
Especially the patience. People are quick to speak, quick to judge, quick to do everything. So it's just those things where you just have to listen, sit down, and then, you know.
I definitely feel, I understand. So what's your favorite thing about being Senat, the individual Senat?
I actually looked at this question and I was like, what am I going to say? Because I actually don't know. I think my favorite thing is that I like to mind my business. So I'm not a lot of drama or anything. So I like myself because I like to protect my peace. Protecting peace is very important.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah.
Favorite thing? I don't think I have a favorite thing.
Okay.
What would be your favorite? It's hard to answer. I don't know.
Well, I think my favorite thing about myself is that I'm a free thinker and I do what I want when I think it. And I trust my choices and I follow through. That would be my favorite thing about myself. Yeah. But yeah, we can move on to the next question. Talking about your favorite thing about being the individual Senate. I wanted to ask that on a personal level, not the princess, but you, right? But I think there's something that I've always wondered. Like I've seen people, let's say, who have certain privileges that other people don't have. They're usually subject to certain people disliking them simply because they have certain privileges, which has always made me wonder, how so engaging the tagatsa how do people warm up to you or do they treat you differently?
From as far as I can remember, everyone warmed up to me. There wasn't any special treatment. Prep up until even in university. Even in university is a different setting. It's a foreign country.
Yeah.
The population, the school population is bigger. Everyone is doing their own thing.
Yeah.
It would just be my close circle that even knew where I came from, who I am and everything like that. And they wouldn't make like much of a deal about it. Even in high school, there wasn't any special treatment. There wasn't any bad treatment either. It would just be, oh, okay, that's cool. And then life goes on, which I enjoyed. I liked that because I would feel strange to have that kind of treatment. You know. Now I'm just part of the students and everything like that. So yeah, it was just, also it depends on who it is. If it's strangers, then maybe it might be different. But when you're at school, it's like, okay, this is what's happening. Sometimes I wouldn't even tell them from the get-go, especially in Canada. They would just find out when they follow me on Instagram. And they're like, oh my gosh, are you so-and-so? And I'm like, yeah, but yeah.
Okay. So something just crossed my mind. Like recently we saw pictures of you hanging out with Ndata. There was quite a stare on social media. So I have to ask, can you tell us how you guys met? You know,
I've always been a fan of him, actually. So we just ran into each other in the market. So honestly, that's all there is to it. All his new music, because there was something happening at the market for Sesotho fashioning. And then I was like, oh, I want to go. I just recently come back home and everything. I was like, oh no, I want to go. But it was a very calm environment and everything like that. And then that's when we first met. I just recently met him. I haven't known him for that long, honestly. But he's a good person. We get along. We're friends. I know
You've cleared the rumors.
There's honestly nothing going on. You know what's funny? People think Tofane akakiliti, and they're like, no, it's not Tabeliti.
Yeah, so they're cousins.
They're cousins, and I'm like, people don't know my surname. Just say so, guys. But no, we haven't known each other for that long. I just ran into him there at the market, and yeah.
I think something that has also intrigued me about you, or you and your siblings essentially, is usually in royalty people are promised to certain other princes. Is that still a thing in this age, or it's different now?
Promise? What do you mean?
Like in marriage.
Oh.
Is it still a thing now?
With us, I don't believe it's a thing. Well, at least for me, I don't have any promises or any expectation. There's no arranged marriage thing or anything. I don't know who I'm going to marry.
Okay.
I might stay single forever. But there's no certain, and things like that.
Okay. You know, we hear things.
You hear things where...
No, not anything specific. To
okay.
No, in reality, so I just wanted to ask someone, like, okay, is this really how it works or not? You understand?
I don't think there's specific promises or specific arrangements, but, you know, just like anybody, when you marry someone, they have to come from a good family and all those things.
Okay. So I just asked you some questions, just trying to get to know you, right? Essentially. So what are the section of the podcast that we're about to get into is called the Unboxed and Unfiltered Q&A, right? This is the part where I get to ask you anything.
Okay.
Don't be nervous. I'm a decent person. I'll ask you proper things, you know? Yeah, so I think essentially, you know, the point of this podcast, yes, we invite people that are prominent or popular in the entertainment sector, because that's typically people that people want to know about. You understand? But I like taking these conversations to like some personal experiences that they have had that are also a shared human experience, especially amongst us, the youth. You understand? So the first question I want to ask you is, can you tell us about an experience you once had that really lowered your self-esteem?
There is a few, but I think the first big one was a few years back. I think in 2018, I made an Instagram post, and you probably know, I don't know, but the word spread that I'm getting married, and you know those rumors.
Yeah, I remember.
Very funny. But I think what they were saying on the like online and everything like that just was kind of short. That's when I learned how the internet is a different beast. It's not everyone is your friend. Not everyone is friendly.
You.
Not everyone likes you, which is fine. But when that thing happened, that kind of lowered my confidence or lowered my self-esteem because of what people were saying. And at that time, Niketa, the launch, the child marriage thing. So people were saying, but how is she getting married? And then, but she's
contradicting herself.
Yes, which wasn't the case. But
which of the comments still stand out for you? Even if hauna hopela word for word and quote, but something that you're like, oh, and then you know it's something that's stuck in your mind. It's part of the reason why your self-esteem was low at Kanagwe.
I think it was just along those lines of the whole child marriage launch and this thing. They're saying, oh, how can she do this? Yet she's, you know, getting married and everything. And then also a couple of situations in high school, bashanyana and stuff. But yeah, I think that was the main one that really, also that's when I think understood, okay, people are always watching, or people always are going to have something to say about you, which was kind of scary. It is still scary for me to this day.
I think especially because you especially will always be the subject of attention and criticism.
So that's when I learned, okay, wow, this is what it is.
Rough.
Rough.
Okay, so my next question is, what is one misconception people have about you? Like whether you see them saying something online or a person has met you and you realize this is a misconception that they have about me.
What do they say about me?
I honestly
don't know. I don't know either.
Okay.
Maybe
it doesn't have to be even get some talaka. You don't necessarily have to be someone like you for a person to have, people to have misconceptions about you. Let's say people think I'm very serious, which I am. But when they meet me, they're like, "Oh, I'm surprised you even have a sense of humor. I thought you were serious the whole time." That could be a misconception that any other side to me. So it could be people that have encountered you and they've made a comment. You're like, "What? You thought I'm like that?" Absolutely not. Have you not had experiences like that?
I think unfriendliness. People think I'm like gay or something like that. So, but that's not the case. Like, I'm very open. I'm approachable. Yeah. So approach me if you dare. But yeah, I think that's
again. And I also hi, but you have an introverted nature. You're quiet. This might be why they assume how approachable. Okay. Can you cook?
No, I can't.
I had to ask.
No,
I mean, you must have cooked or something.
Yeah, sure. But in university, I tried my best. I didn't starve. I survived. I'm here. The basic meals, because negidu like ilmu. So I just cooked for myself. To cook for everyone, I don't think I can do that. So I can't cook essentially. No. Can you cook?
Definitely. I'm the eldest of 4 kids, so I grew up raising kids. So I can cook, I can clean.
Older daughter responsibility.
Yeah. Going back to the topic, not misconceptions, but something that really lowered your self-confidence. Have you ever had body image or self-image issues? Like, has there ever been a part of your body that you really dislike and you had to work through those insecurities? Can you tell us about that journey if it's been there?
I have, and I actually still am like having those struggles. I think it's, I don't want to say it's what women struggle with. It's both men and women actually. But for me personally, I don't know why, since I was like 10 years old or something like that, I've always I have a very weird relationship with myself in terms of how I see myself, how I look at myself, and it's very toxic. But I'm working on that. In terms of body image, yes, even now, like sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening here? I need to go I went to the gym yesterday. I'm going today.
Are you consistent though?
I was day 1 yesterday. Okay. I'm going to try to be consistent. So I have been struggling a lot with that, especially during my teenage years, during puberty, your body's changing, like everything. So how you're like, what's happening? And yeah, some days I'll feel that, oh no, I need to lose weight. I'm like that. I'm like this. But some days I want to look like Megan Thee Stallion, Ice Spice, or something like that.
Thick is the way.
Thick is the way. Thick is the way sometimes. And then like sometimes I want to be like Bella Hadid. But body image, yes, it has been quite a struggle, and I'm still learning how to accept myself. So there is a little bit of body dysmorphia there, but
it's a journey.
It's a journey.
Yeah. I definitely get it. So we'd say you don't know who you're going to marry. You might spend the rest of your life single, was a joke, right? But I want to ask you, do you believe in love? Do you think there's someone out there for you?
I wouldn't say there's someone out there for me, but I believe in love. Love is a beautiful thing, guys. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's not always, fun and laughter, but I think it's a very beautiful thing to connect with someone, specifically if you have like mutwaha and you connect on personal level, deep levels. You get to know each other. You get to know your person and everything. Okay, you get to know your person and everything. Even when you fight, it's part of the journey. It's part of what love is.
Okay.
And in the Bell Hooks book, she was saying, like, don't be afraid of love. Our generation, like, we're afraid of love.
Yeah, and vulnerability.
And
everything that comes with
vulnerability.
it. Yeah.
And let's have our commitment. And we don't commit. These situationships or whatever. But we don't fully commit. And we just discard the beauty of love. And we rob ourselves of what
Of the experience.
love is.
Yeah.
It's a rough experience because heartbreak at the end of the day, but it's still a beautiful experience. Maybe there is someone out there for me.
Okay.
Maybe.
So ho ya ka wena ke ntho di feng tse tharo tse hlokahalang, in a relationship for it to work or be healthy?
Is it how?
Or two, but several things.
I think the basics, communication, honesty, but apart from that, I want like emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Like if we can sit down and discuss what went wrong, was I wrong, were you wrong, and you can open up to that, you can accept your mistakes and everything. I don't want someone who's a narcissist or gaslighter or something. So I think, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and vulnerability.
Yeah.
Also just openness, like,
The person's not closed off.
don't be closed off, show me off, love me out loud, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So I wanna this part of, let's say, emotional intelligence, communication, honesty, I forgot which one also, but they've sort of become textbook answers of late, you understand? So what is honesty for you? Ke eng e encapsulating honesty ka ha motho a le honest in a relationship ke a o le tjena, ke a o le jwang ho ya ka wena?
Honesty is, okay, the basic answer is speaking the truth. But I think when I say honesty, I mean don't hide your feelings. If you're feeling a certain way, come to me. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
If you don't like what I did, address it. We'll talk about it. Skatula fela. And if you made mistakes, come and tell me. Don't cheat on me. That's a deal breaker for me. But just saying, okay, I did this without even me having to interrogate. It's like, okay, Snade, I did this. I'm sorry. We work our way forward. Or I feel like you did this and I wasn't happy with it, or that kind of thing.
Okay. So ho ya ka wena, what is emotional intelligence?
I think being in tune with, not being in tune with your emotions, but being able to identify and work with your emotion. Everyone is emotional. I really think that everyone is emotional. But once you can understand your emotions and once you can understand how to deal with them and not even deal with them, but you just know, okay, this is how I feel. This is what needs to be done.
Yeah, don't you mean like process them essentially?
Process them and just, I think that's what I mean.
Okay, I need to get into your thoughts about the matter. It's kawa, narcissist, emotional intelligence, communication.
No, but also like in terms of conversations, I like having those deep conversations. So if you're not in tune with your emotions, everything will just be surface level. So I want to dig deep.
Okay. Do you feel like you've identified your purpose in life? Kapo feel like into motho ai figuring out along the way?
You figure it out along the way.
Okay.
Life is a journey, as they say. And things change. You change as a person. So I'll have a purpose now. You're 23 years old, but 5 years later, I might have a new purpose and a different perspective. So I think it's a changing thing. I haven't identified my purpose. I don't know what I'm doing. But
I don't think you need to know. I mean, I haven't either, but I just go with the flow.
just go with the flow, Ganit. But I don't have a purpose right now. I haven't identified a purpose.
Okay.
But it is a constantly changing thing, I think.
So na je harare you're 18, you're looking back on your life. Yeah, I've lived. How pity jwang kapo o entseng?
Good question. I think by 80, I hope to have not been like scared of living. Sometimes I have that fear of living or doing things to the fullest. But when I look back, it would be mainly on my, not personal achievements, but how I've contributed to the people around me, society. Just leave my mark in other people's lives or in different societies and Lesotho, I guess you could say.
Okay. What's the weirdest thing someone has done to get your attention?
To get my attention? Nothing weird per se.
Okay.
How do you define weird? Like,
You felt like
DM me isn't that very. It's not
the,
weird.
but when I come to get that weird, you're like you're taken aback a second.
I think approaching me, like, usually when I'm like at school, I would go clubbing and stuff. Just approaching me, and then they're just acting too much. They're pushy. They trying to get your number, trying to get your Instagram, everything. You're like, boot, relax. So when you do too much, I don't like when people do too much.
Okay.
So otherwise, nothing crazy has, I live a very boring life.
I've had a guest one go hearted like she's a DJ. She had a fan, essentially a supporter, right? And then I don't know if maybe amongst the crowd when she was DJing, the supporter or the fan or something, but this person is like, hey, hi, love your work, and then they hug, and then she gets into the toilet or something of that sort. Then the go is like, no, like open the door, I want to get out, or something of that sort. The person slaps her randomly. So people have had such experience.
Oh my gosh. Okay, no.
I know, right? Like, how does a person even do that?
What do you do after that? Nankal. Because what do you do after that?
Some people have had really weird encounters, like, so when she was here, I think for the second episode, was she trying to get my attention? I didn't give her enough attention. But this person just ended up deciding to slap me for no reason, So yeah. Yeah,
nothing like that.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
Have you ever gotten your heart broken?
I have. Who hasn't? I have.
I haven't gotten my heart broken.
Lucky.
So just tell us about that.
It was in high school, just one of those high school relationships.
What
your
did you
first
do?
love when you think you're so in love. I'm only 16 years old. He didn't do anything specifically. It was just, maybe he was just starting to be different.
Okay.
He was a grade above me. So I was in grade 11. He was in matric. So he was just moving different and just being weird. So, and very neglectful. So, yeah, it really hurt. So, yeah.
Have you ever been cheated on?
I have.
What did he do?
He cheated on me.
Oh, you didn't find out the details of what happened?
He cheated on me with his ex, actually. Don't go through the phone because you'll find out.
So basically you found out then.
So I found out through the phone. It was when, like last year or something, when in Canada. I shouldn't be telling this. I don't know who's watching. But I went through the phone, and if you go through the phone, just be ready to leave. That's all I'm going to say.
You're gonna say, you know?
But yeah, he cheated on me with his ex and everything. So that really hurt. Then I went back.
You're only a girl.
I'm
You're just a girl. Come on.
That's why I'm saying if you go through the phone, just be ready to leave. I didn't know what I was expecting. But we survived. I'm here.
You came out stronger.
I came out stronger.
What's the pettiest thing you've ever done?
I think I'll block people. I'm so quick on blocking people.
So mo block ha itseng. Whoa, what's the
If you're just being weird or doing too much, I'll just...
What is doing too much?
Depends on the relationship we have. Okay, I don't block my friends, but I block boys. If I don't have an interest in you and you're trying to...
So you're pushy.
You're pushy. I'll block you. Or if we're talking and you upset me, I'll block you. But I'll unblock you later. Impafela in the moment.
You're gonna block.
I'll block.
I feel
so that Yana, he has some time to reflect and everything.
Are you about to make it immature again? I think time to reflect.
Go sit in your corner.
I feel okay. So I'm gonna move on to the next question. Hands are really mono people being pushy or doing a lot. Have you ever had a fake friend? Actively fake, like always doing something behind your back, or...
I think I'm lucky to... Oh, if there were fake, I never found out. But there have been friends that, just switch up on you and just start changing. All of a sudden, they don't like you. You don't know what you did. You don't know what's wrong. They don't want to talk about it. But all of a sudden, or something like that. So I'm quite, not naive, but some things I don't pick up. Some things I don't notice. So no, they're fake or something. But you can tell if they start moving like differently towards you and start treating you differently.
Okay, so I'm gonna switch it up a bit. Yeah. So off cam, I didn't discuss other questions, and I asked you it's essentially one of the questions says what you feel about the advent of the pornography industry in Lesotho, specifically strip chat, because it's a platform, a webcam platform, and how whole. So yeah, having explained what strip chat is, we had that conversation. What I want to ask you is that there's quite differing perspectives on this. Do you personally, as Senat, feel like sex work is real work?
Wow, that's quite a... work is work. I'm joking, but
before maybe I gave it corners you a bit. Motoring sex work is real work. I get it. It's not just saying it up front to hey, if you're working and making money, let's move. It's people who make considerations for in the circumstances that push them into it. And one example that they made when they were arguing for these ladies that give us twins on strip chat, there was a guy in the Mounted Police Service Facebook page the post about he's just trying to survive in a bad economy. But then they come around and then they bash these ladies also for, I'll say, prostitution in a sense, but so like, where do we stand? But then when the ladies, I get it was usually, let's say, the resources available, because typically as a male, you'd survive in a a scenario like that where you're selling drugs, yeah, you can protect yourself physically, all of that stuff. So as a female, I guess they were using their resources on that end, doing something that is transgressive in nature. Let's say, it's not a criminal act necessarily, but it's transgressive, right? Are they not trying to survive in a bad economy, just like that guy was? So, how it's real work, you gotta be like, hey, do it, I think we all know it has certain negative effects on the ladies, of course. But basically, it's work, I guess they're sympathizing with those people. So, where do you stand on that matter?
I think in this economy, and depending on your situation, it is real work. You never know what someone is going through.
Okay.
Hape, the whole thing of when you mentioned this case just now, there's always that double standard. If men did it, it wouldn't be a problem. We wouldn't even be blinking, like batting an eye. But when women do it, it's now a different conversation. We attack these women, we judge these women. Society, especially Lesotho Mona, we do have different morals, we do have different beliefs and values. So in some places it's acceptable, well, not acceptable, but it's people,
not as transgressive, highly.
So it also just depends on where you are. So I think how I look at it is, if it's situational, then you have to find some other way to survive. You have to, because unfortunately, if your situation is hard, you're desperate. It's just that it's sensitive because, like you said, it's transgressive here, and it might not be acceptable to the public eye. For women, unfortunately, but if men did it, it wouldn't be a problem. It's just that women are always under attack and everything. But you never know somebody's situation. But I do think it's real work. Also, just do it safely. Well, but it is on the phone, so it's not like...
That's another advantage they stated.
Okay.
At least, unlike the ladies by among most of the really lights, and they actually get assaulted. Some even die. And also like HIV infection and other STIs. If it's just over the cam, they're like, okay, but well, it's safer. We know that our vulnerable young girls are not actually in the street somewhere getting attacked. While who's actually providing for their livelihood, which is why they turned to this thing. So at least if it's over the cam, then that's what they say, right?
Yeah, that is true.
But I feel like, our last guest, Atizi, I asked him this question. I feel like I still want to have this conversation because at the same time, I think what people don't realize, what they always highlight, sex work is real work. Let's say playful is like, well, it's America. In America, they're doing it and those girls are getting rich. But they don't talk about the part where they feel they're treated differently because now you're a porn star and people know your insides essentially. When they now get older, they want to get married. They're not, you lose your standing in society essentially when you indulge you understand. But instead of judging, solution is recreating some ways then okay, when we disapprove someone or in a better situation. Yeah, but also suicide rates are actually very high among porn stars. And especially like drug overdose, so it shows you it's very difficult for them to cope eventually. So I think that's an aspect that people don't highlight when they're pro sex work. You understand, like that disadvantage.
And it's also, you have to look at who's keeping them in work. It's the men who are keeping them in work. Lebona, they're the ones who go out. They're the ones who are seeking. They're the target market, I guess. Supply and demand. So, Lebona, you have to ask the men why, if you're attacking the ladies, let's also attack them. Why are you consuming it as well?
If you disapprove.
You disapprove.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think, that was one touchy topic that I wanted us to cover. And I think essentially, I think we've had a pretty good conversation. I think thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. Again, the point of this conversation, I wanted to experience you and I wanted our audience to experience you as a person. You understand? Because I think if, like, let's say, essentially, equate the celebrity, being royalty, like, we treat them as objects. With real views and beliefs and perspectives and fears and of his or her own. So as a last question, I want to ask you, what is your biggest fear?
I have a lot of big fears. I think top three. My biggest is losing someone I love. That one's quite. But losing someone I love, or a parent, hopefully eventually.
But it's a scary.
Sorry. And this one is not hectic, but it's my biggest fear. Like Hakile Haimuna is. I'm trending somewhere about I don't know what.
It'll definitely be negative.
That's my biggest fear. And then who knows what would happen after that. So I guess, losing someone I love, being perceived negatively, especially on Facebook or Twitter. That's why I'm not on Facebook or Twitter, by the way. Because people are very scary over there. But anyway, and I think also just being a disappointment. I don't know why I have that personal fear of being a disappointment to the people around me, the people I love, and just in general to the public, I want to say.
In what sense?
Sometimes there are expectations that you have to
I feel like you have to
live up to. So if you're not acting a certain way, or if you're not doing certain things,
like princess.
So I don't want to. That's my biggest fear. I don't want to be a disappointment or look like a bad person. So yeah,
I definitely get that. We've come to the end of our conversation. Once again, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you.
I think people are definitely going to love it. And that's it, guys, in this episode of the Unboxed Unfiltered Podcast. Please do remember to like and subscribe. And thank you so much for our followers on Facebook, on TikTok, and on YouTube. As always, I'm your host, Mahlodi Macheta. It is bye for now.